Good morning, y'all. Good morning, everybody. I am so sorry that I'm this late, but my child left me here with my dog and hers, and let's just say it's just been a very long morning. I've been doing a lot of cleaning up behind dogs. It's just been too much this morning, so I apologize for being late, guys. But thank you for bearing with me. Now, I want to make sure I run this by you guys. Cash Out has a stream. He's being sentenced right now. So, do you guys want to watch that before we go to day 7? And Forrest, good morning, Forrest. Forrest, I saw this on X that Lally is on the stand right now. I just said, will the Ken Reed saga end? Hey, Gina, good morning. Hey, Alice. Hey, Pretty, good morning. Hey, Shay. Hey, Jasmine. Good morning, Denise. Hey, Vidra. Hey, Rita. How are you? Hey, Jazz with the yellow heart. Good morning, T. How are you? Hey, Denise. Hey, Cass. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Summer. Hey, Missy. Good morning, Sugar. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Ebony. Hey, Miss Davis. Okay, y'all, I put Cash Out on because when I went on for Melly, I saw that Cash Out, they're actually streaming his sentencing hearing. Um Atlanta News First has it too. Hold on. Damn. Hold on, y'all. And now I'll be reading the statement on behalf of but to give a voice present in
that you never know peace into the darkest moments of my
life.
In 2015, I was 20 years old, young, free, open-hearted, optimistic, and had an insatiable lust for life.
Girl. Is today. Okay, before we start, I'm just gonna say this. I know Cash Out's mom. I know his mom. Y'all, what I'm gonna do is I'll change the name of this stream, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create a new one for Melly because y'all know I hate mixing them in. But Cash Out's mama has been crying this whole trial. That mama been crying the whole trial. Y'all remember opening statement? She was sitting over there crying. Yes. Okay, let's go.
She has been traumatized to the point she can't even be a mother to her own children. She's been in counseling since this incident and suffers post-traumatic stress disorder because of the violence and deceit that he and his mom delivered. These individuals withheld food while they were selling these young ladies on the internet to these Johns. And they would keep every dollar too. That's how they made their money. They didn't make it by music. They simply used the music platform to lure these women in.
What the hell is this reading?
Please consider that my daughter was an honor student who graduated high school in 2012 with almost an associate's degree in biology. And she was attending college for dental in 2015 when he made his broken promises and forced her into prostitution. We filed a missing person report. We contacted the Atlanta police. When no one listened, I called him, and guess what? I told him, like the movie Taken, I was coming and getting my own.
Oh, not damn it.
Now, for the defense, who states, well, why didn't you just leave? Because these clowns were everywhere and literally at the side of my car.
Ms. Wee-Witowski, I want you to focus your statement.
Baby, she done wrote a book.
And I want you to direct your comments to me, okay?
Okay. Well, she made a point to get us as close as possible. My point is, within minutes of we getting our daughter, that Mama Cash and her another woman were in the side of our car, and we barely escaped. To say that children could just walk off, they couldn't. These people were everywhere. Please give all the victims their day by throwing the book at these folks. Remember the parents that traveled and drove from their home to his door to do a well check. for their daughter. Remember how we put ourselves in danger to save our daughter. And finally, remember and resonate with the fact that even though we restored her body, we have been unsuccessful in saving and healing the person because of the trauma that these animals delivered. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm done.
All right.
Baby, I know she on Zoom going in. Good morning, everybody that's
The next
joining. We're
statement
watching
is from
Cash App.
Diamond Irvin.
Okay.
My past dealing with Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor has impacted my life in a major way. Because of these people, I know they are. Because of the people I know they are, I am in consistent fear of my life and for the well-being of my family. I know what they are capable of, and I know how far they can extend. So for the rest of my life, I will fear that they will kill me. I will never forget the times that he threatened to kill me with a gun, even firing gunshots indoor wherever we were. All because he was mad that I didn't want to go out and do what he wanted me to do. They know where members of my family live, and I will rest easier knowing that these two individuals are locked up for their crimes. I suffer severe depression from my past experience with these two individuals, as well as persistent anxiety. I have been in and out of the emergency room for at least 6 times to receive treatment for symptoms such as high blood pressure and rapid heart rate because of the trauma that Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor put me through. I have been prescribed several medications to help me deal with these symptoms. As a result of their manipulation of me, I have found it hard to gain and keep employment, and I have had to relocate out of the state of Georgia just to get away from them. I hope the court takes my experience into strong consideration when sentencing Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor, so that me and my family and others would seek to do harm to be safer and protected. The next statement is from Janae Wright. I have gone back and forth writing this just to soothe my soul and allowing my spirit to rest it deserves by being satisfied with vindication felt from facing one of my demons responsible for the most traumatic experience I've ever lived through by testifying. However, the God I serve knows me, and that same God prompted me to release this burden from my heart and speak one last time. So here it goes. In 2015, I was robbed and raped at gunpoint by 2 men while in a hotel with my best friend. In 2015, I was 20 years old, young, free, open-hearted, optimistic, and had an insatiable lust.
Girl, hang it up.
However, after the event in 2015, I became anxiety and depression stricken, filled with paranoia and severely distrustful of everything and everyone. That was cowardly, and inwardly I felt alone, afraid, disgusting, unloved, and unlovable because I was tainted by an experience that altered my personality so much that I couldn't even recognize myself.
Stop the damn tears.
Repulsed by the thought that I would be forced to explain to anyone who attempted to bond with me, and fearful of being too much to deal with, because why would anyone love a victim of such a heinous and fearful of a heinous thing,
Yes,
or
JT.
fearful being questioned because my story didn't make sense, and I would not be seen as a victim I really was. Pushing away anyone close to me before they could leave me first, but worst of all, I felt like I didn't deserve to live anymore. As I sit in my tears, remembering how this one event spiraled into the darkest moments of my entire existence, I remember the gut-wrenching feeling of having to explain to my friends and family that cared about me what happened, and the feeling of being judged, just as I did the day that the police were called and ignored me as well. I wanted to die. I tried to die. And had it not been for me hearing my grandmother's voice while I drifted into what I thought would be a peaceful death after swallowing what I thought was enough Tylenol PM to end my life, I never would have had the strength to turn on my stomach and make myself vomit until it hurt.
What?
But at that time, I was miserable, desperate, alone, and afraid of the entire world, and even myself. It's been 10 years of hell, healing, and hope that one day I would be able to tell my story, and it will finally bring justice. So when I was contacted in 2022, I knew I had to tell it. For my then 4-year-old, now 8-year-old daughter, that I vowed to protect with my entire being. For Frederica, the most loyal friend I've ever had. for the women and victims I learned about along the way, but most importantly, for myself. Dear John Michael Hakeem Gibson, you don't deserve prison. Prison would be too good of a place for you. But since the death penalty is not an option, I pray that you never know peace, and that your soul will never return to this realm after it leaves. You are a disgrace and an abomination, and true definition of a monster. I hope that the judge finds it in her heart to make sure that you will never know freedom as long as you live.
Well, goddamn.
Good morning. I will be reading the statement on behalf of Talicia Dewberry. It states, good morning. Reliving the events surrounding this trafficking case has affected me both mentally and physically. Since the investigation and my testimony, I've struggled with severe nightmares and flashbacks that disturb my sleep and concentration. The memories of what I witnessed and endured continue to resurface unexpectedly, leaving me feeling anxious and emotionally overwhelmed. This trauma has begun to affect my relationship with my loved ones. Where I was once present and engaged, now I feel myself withdrawing, easily agitated, and unable to fully connect. My performance at work has also been compromised. Tasks that once felt routine now don't feel the same. As my ability to focus deteriorates under emotional distress. I share this not as a complaint, but to give a voice to the invisible weight that many survivors carry. I'm committed to healing and I'm grateful for the resources available, but I hope this statement provides a deeper insight into the toll this case continues to take on my life. Thank you for listening and for advocating on behalf of those who are still navigating the aftermath. Sincerely, Talicia Dewberry. And I have a statement on behalf of Jasmine Brown, which states, I wish him nothing but hell. And now I'll be reading the statement on behalf of Kiara Adams.
And Your Honor, we state for the record, we spoke with Kiara Adams' attorney, Jacoby Hudson. He's given us permission to read the statement.
Thank you.
I'm writing this to respectfully provide insight into the profound impact that being coerced into sex work has had on my life and my family. I want you to know the severe emotional, psychological, physical, and social consequences that I have endured. Many days I want to give up, but I keep fighting. No one truly understands the pain that I have experienced and continue to struggle with in my life. I've been wearing an ankle monitor for over 2 years, which means I'm unable to take a simple bath, find clothes to cover it so people don't freak out nor judge me. Daily stress of making sure it's charged, adding weight to my leg, and has severely scarred my ankle. Being forced into sex work was not a choice, but a situation driven by bad consequences or just getting involved with the wrong guy. This experience has left me deep scars in every aspect of my life. The constant fear for my safety and that of my family is overwhelming. As faced with explicit threats of harm if I attempted to leave, the threats created a sense of terror that continues to haunt me and my family daily, making it difficult to feel secure even now. The psychological toll has been devastating, and I have struggled with severe depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, numbness, emptiness, and feeling like I am constantly being judged or punished. These mental health challenges sometimes cause me to break down, which left me unable to function normally or maintain stability in my life. The stigma attached to my past has compounded these struggles as I face relentless judgment from others in my community, workplaces, family, and friends. This judgment has made it incredibly hard in my life to secure stable, well-paying employment, as employers often dismiss me upon learning my history regardless of my qualifications or effort. My family has also been profoundly affected. The shame and stigma associated with my coerced involvement into sex work has strained our relationships, caused them significant emotional distress. I'm no longer close with many of my family members, and they no longer talk to me or want to be around me.
Damn.
They too live in fear of retaliation from those who once controlled me. and threaten to cause harm to me and my family, such as shoot up my mom's house. Each day I'm faced with the task of trying to escape the cycle of fear, judgment, and economic hardship, which is very exhausting and challenging. I respectfully ask that you consider the immense challenges I have faced as a result of being coerced into sex work. Challenges that include ongoing mental health struggles, social ostracism, economic instability, and thoughts of living under consistent threat. These circumstances have shaped my life in ways I never could have anticipated, and I am working relentlessly to rebuild and move forward. I now have stable employment and previously enrolled in an online college for animation. I humbly request your compassion and understanding into your consideration of my case. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter and for considering my circumstances. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story. Respectfully, Kiera Adams. And Judge, we have one more statement by Jordan Adams. She would like to read it for herself.
Ooh.
All right, Ms. Adams, if you'll come right up here, please direct all your comments to me, okay? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I wound up in the company of these strangers during a dark time in my life,
Swing the mic over to her, please. Thank you.
where they violated me, assaulted me, and attempted to market and sell me for the purposes of prostitution. Can you believe that after hours of rape and assault, I consider myself lucky? Because had they been successful, had my family not tracked me down, had Officer Yamians and his degree of skill and experience witnessing victims of human trafficking not recognized my distress and rescued me, I would have been further victimized on a regular basis for God knows how long. In my vulnerable state, I simply wasn't strong enough to save myself or even found value in saving myself. These defendants not only saw this and preyed on this, they further violated, assaulted, and victimized me and attempted to profit off of this vulnerability as if my body was a wholesale product they sought to make revenue from. I need you to know how much these events not only affected me in my life, but even the lives of those I love. These crimes go much further beyond just us women in this case, but the loved ones in our life as well. The past 6.5 years, I've had nightmares on average 1 to 2 times a week. My own daughter has woken me up from these nightmares. My girlfriend, family members. I've been told I sound petrified, probably because I am. In these nightmares, it's always the same. I'm held down, I cannot move, and their voices are laughing at me, telling me they're going to do whatever they want to me. I can't breathe, and I gasp, and I wake up crying. Like my mother and brother mentioned when they picked me up, I was utterly broken with a 1,000-yard stare. That didn't go away for about nearly 2 years after this event. I was catatonic. I couldn't be near or close to men. It was difficult to hold down a job. The flashbacks would often come crashing into my brain, solicited or not, to the point I'd have panic attacks and even cover my ears in an attempt to quiet their haunting voices in my head. The day these defendants chose to commit these crimes against me, they gave me a life sentence, and there was no mercy or consideration. And while I worked my butt off to successfully complete probation, win custody of my daughter, and work at nearly every major gun store and firing range in the state of Georgia to become a qualified firearm instructor in the areas of self-defense, I can tell you today that none of it has fully healed me from this violence and trauma. I don't know if there will ever be enough time. On an everyday basis, I wear 4 to 5 blades, a stun gun, pepper spray, a full-size weapon, and 80 rounds of law enforcement grade HST. And my clients often ask me, is that necessary? And Your Honor, I say absolutely. Because I know what it feels like to nearly lose your life, and as a woman lose a piece of your soul and that you can never get back, to witness and encounter evil where there's no hesitation to harm you. I've seen it and survived it. I know today that I'm equipped and qualified to defend my life for others and to share this knowledge with others. Not only do I owe it to help others and their healing and to serve my community, I owe it to the girl that I used to be. The girl that couldn't save herself, But perhaps this step right here will offer me the healing I and these women in the community need from the offenses the court has recognized these people committed. Regarding sentencing, I'd like to reiterate that my nightmares and flashbacks in my sentence is only one of many. There were many, many other women who went unnamed during this trial. John Michael Gibson and his mother affected so many women, Your Honor. For God's sake, he picked his own mother out.
Oh,
It's no less impact on the community. What their sentences should be, I know that's your decision, but this is, I'm sorry, excuse me. They were in a criminal organization of prostitution and human trafficking, victimizing other women. They're all old enough to understand and know better. Your Honor, I want to thank you, the court, the jurors, and the state and its law enforcement officers for saving me when I couldn't save myself, for holding all the defendants accountable, and for rendering a decision today regarding penalty in this case. I especially want to thank Officer Yamians and Investigator Dillard for going above and beyond throughout these years, and ADA Winfrey for tirelessly working on this case since day one. They're the heroes all of us ladies needed. After today, I keep hearing that I may be able to put this behind me. But Your Honor, it's never behind me. It's always with me, even in my sleep and my subconscious. I wish I could better describe to you what it feels like to be a broken human being, to be broken by witnessing and enduring true malevolence. It changes you, it shakes you to the core, and the reverberations are like a ripple effect from a pebble in a pond that ebb and flow for eons. The defendants showed no mercy when sentencing me, and I ask you today that you take that into consideration when sentencing them. Thank you again.
guys, they stopped streaming this trial. We watched opening statements, and that was it. They stopped streaming it, so we didn't get to see it all. That's it. The first day and this.
Your Honor, with that being said, the state would like to now put on the record our recommendation for the court's consideration.
All right. Slow, please.
Baby, they gonna bury these boys.
As to John Michael Hakeem Gibson, count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. Count 10, rape, life. Count 12, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 24 and count 30, merge, 12 months to serve. Count 25, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 5 years consecutive to the sentence. Count 26, pimping, 12 months to serve. Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution, 12 months to serve. Count 29, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, 12 months to serve. And count 45, prohibited items by an inmate, 5 years to serve. We'd ask the court as special conditions, should the court give any probated time, that a $100,000 fine be allowed pursuant to OCGA section 16-5-46. Defendant is to register as a sex offender. Defendant Gibson is to stay away and have no direct or indirect contact with all named victims in the indictment, to include Diamond Irvin, who was not named in the indictment but testified at trial, and he's to stay away from their families. He is to not hold any fiduciary positions or positions of trust, and cannot possess any other person's identifying information. He is to have no social media or no dating applications, and he is to stay away from all adult entertainment establishments. He is not to engage, of course, in the commercial sex business. He is to stay away from 737 Alfred Road, Northwest in Atlanta. He is to stay away from the Mezzo apartments located at 2171 Peachtree Road in Atlanta. He is to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. He's also to stay away from 9340 St. Georgian Commons in Johns Creek. The defendant may not form a limited liability corporation or other corporation without prior knowledge and consent of his probation officer. And he must submit a financial statement every 6 to 12 months, including tax returns, to his probation officer. The global sentence as it relates to defendant Gibson would be 2 life sentences plus 65 years, 60 months.
No, 1 second, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
2 life sentences plus 65 years. Go ahead.
60 months and 5 years consecutive.
Okay.
Yes, all the sentences to run consecutive. As it relates to Linda Smith, also known as Marinka Vinny, count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. And count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. We are also asking for the same special conditions as enumerated as to defendant John Gibson. That's a global of 40 years to serve. As it relates to Tyrone Taylor, he is an A recidivist, and the sentence we would ask is as follows. Count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. Count 9, rape, life. Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 20 years to serve. Count 16, false imprisonment, 10 years to serve. Count 17, pandering by compulsion, 10 years to serve. Count 18, possession of cocaine, 3 years to serve. Count 19, tampering with evidence, 12 months to serve. And count 20, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, because this is his second offense, 10 years to serve. We'd ask the following special conditions would apply. He is to also to have a $100,000 fine. He is to register as a sex offender. He is to stay away and have no direct or indirect contact with any of the named victims, to include Diamond Irving and their families. No social media or dating applications. He must stay away from all adult entertainment establishments. And he's also to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. We are also asking that defendant Taylor submit to alcohol, drug, and treatment evaluation and any recommended treatment and random screens. That is a global sentence of 2 life sentences plus 93 years and 12 months. In closing, Your Honor, we'd ask, the state would ask that the punishment fit the ends of justice and bring sufficient closure to these victims in our community, our city, and our state. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Manners.
Them boys never getting out. Sorry, y'all, my screen off because I'm trying to eat while watching this. Told y'all that dog had me running today, y'all. Died.
Good morning to this honorable court. Carrington Matthews, Senior and Junior, on behalf of Mr. John Michael Gibson. In all things, we will give thanks. In all things, under all circumstances, good or bad. Your Honor, Code Section 16-6-1 is the rape statute. A person convicted of the offense of rape shall be punished. These are the options in our statute. It says death, by imprisonment for life without parole, by imprisonment for life, or by split sentence. That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Code Section 16-6-2, Your Honor, governs the aggravated sodomy count. A person convicted of the offense of aggravated sodomy shall be punished by imprisonment for life or by split sentence. That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Under 16-14-5, the RICO count, a person convicted of engaging in a RICO violation shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by not less than 10 nor more than 20 years in prison, or the fine specified in subsection B of this code section, or both. Under 16-5-46, trafficking of a person for sexual servitude, any person who commits the offense of trafficking an individual for labor, servitude, or sexual servitude shall be guilty of a felony, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 10 nor more than 20 years and a fine not to exceed $100,000. Your Honor, when we are handling sentencing hearings, Code Section 17-10-2 governs that process. In the hearing, the judge shall hear additional evidence in extenuation, mitigation, and aggravation of punishment, including the record of any prior criminal convictions and pleas of guilty or nolo contendere, or of the accused, or the absence of any prior conviction and pleas. Punishment for serious violent offenders based on the verdict, rape and aggravated sodomy fall within this category. The sentence of any person convicted of the serious violent felony of rape or aggravated sodomy shall, unless sentenced to life imprisonment, be a split sentence, which shall include a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment of 25 years, followed by probation for life, and no portion of the mandatory minimum sentence imposed shall be suspended, stayed, probated, deferred, or withheld by the sentencing court. Your Honor, under 17-10-10, concurrent sentences, where at one term of court a person is convicted on more than one indictment or accusation, or on more than one count thereof, and sentenced to imprisonment, the sentences shall be served concurrently unless otherwise expressly provided therein. Under 17-10-11, granting of credit generally. Upon conviction for an offense, a person shall be given full credit for each day spent in confinement in any penal institution or facility, and in any institution or facility for treatment or examination for disability, including pretrial confinement for any reason since the date of arrest for the offense which is the subject of the sentence. This code section shall apply to sentences for all crimes, whether classified as violations, misdemeanors, or felonies, and to all courts having criminal jurisdiction located within the boundaries of the state. Your Honor, under 17-10-12, the custodian of the defendant shall be required to make an affidavit specifying the number of days which the defendant has spent in confinement in his custody, and furnish the affidavit to the clerk of the court within 5 days after sentence is imposed if the defendant is convicted. The affidavit of the custodian of the defendant shall be made a part of the official record of the trial. And that particular affidavit will be submitted to the Department of Corrections when the defendant has been sentenced to the custody of the department. The Department of Corrections shall give the defendant credit for the number of days spent in confinement prior to conviction and sentence, as reflected in the custodian's affidavit, before forwarding the record to the State Board of Pardons and Parole. Your Honor, our legislature has set forth in these types of crimes where there's been a conviction the contemplation of various aspects of sentencing. One that can include a minimum sentence of 25 years followed by life on probation. I will note for the record, Your Honor, that prior to trial, the state of Georgia recommended to Mr. Gibson a sentence of 25 years on the rape. Now, our system of justice, Your Honor, frowns upon a trial penalty, a trial tax, sentencing people harsher because they elected to.
I'm going to stop it here, but do you guys see where Mr. Matthews is going? One, he's telling the judge that, listen, he's been in jail, so he needs to get time served for the days he's already been in jail. Two, he's saying that before we opted to go to trial, on the rape alone, they told him they would give him 25 years. Now we've gone to trial, they come here and they're asking you for life. They're asking you to sentence him to life for the rape charge. So that's specifically right now what Matthews is talking about. You shouldn't penalize him because he opted to go to trial. That's what he's saying there.
Exercise their Sixth Amendment right to a trial and handing and imposing a much harsher sentence goes against the grain of justice, because what it does is it has a tendency to snuff out the Sixth Amendment if a person is in fear of going to trial because of the trial penalty or the trial tax. So we're asking this court to exercise the good judgment that it has and has done throughout this trial and throughout its tenure on the bench to level a sentence that is fair, one that is just, and one that contemplates the purposes of sentencing. The purpose of sentencing, Your Honor, addresses three things. It addresses retribution, it addresses deterrence, and it addresses rehabilitation. These victims that have come forward to this podium have expressed to this court what they want the court to do. And if you've been a victim of anything, there's various cycles of thoughts and emotions that go through being a victim. You could be a victim of a sex crime. You could be a victim of a theft. You could be a victim of a heinous lie. You could be a victim of anything. And one of the things is going to be anger. One of the things is going to be trauma. One of the things could be forgiveness. There could be a lot of emotions that come out of being a victim. You have perfect victims and you have imperfect victims, but nonetheless you have victims. You can agree or disagree with the trial verdict, but we are standing here today because we are now at this sentencing phase. And we're asking this court to, when it looks at sentencing, that it also considers not just the retribution part of the sentencing, not just that, the deterrence, that's a scenario where the sentence will hopefully deter others who are in society from engaging in certain conduct, because it says, hey, listen, this is what could happen. So it's supposed to be a deterrence. There are many articles, many statistics and things of that nature that say that harsh punishments don't really deter. Maybe it does. We don't really know. Then there's an aspect of sentencing that deals with rehabilitation. Things that send a message that says, hey, look, we believe that there can be rehabilitation in a sentence that's appropriate, that allows for punishment, deterrence, and for rehabilitation. Now, Mr. Gibson is 34 years old. He has 3 children. He has a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 9-year-old. The state enumerated that he has 24 cycles. However, he has no prior felony convictions on his record. None. The open cases involve a drug charge from 2021 and possession of cell phones inside the jail. And we understand that the state brought forth a RICO indictment, and they put in its indictment a period from 2013 down through 21, 22. They did say that there are countless unknown victims. That's what they said in their representation to the court. Countless unknown victims. We are here to deal with what was heard inside this trial and what is known about 1710-2 as it relates to my client's criminal history. They also indicated that there were, quote, attempts to contact Kiara Adams weeks before trial. That is the absolute first time today that I've ever heard that representation being made. No information concerning that was brought forth to this court pre-trial. None of that information was brought forth from that witness stand during the testimony of Kiara Adams. So that's a first for me to hear that information. Each of these young ladies that have come forward, and we know who did testify in this trial, and we know who did not testify in this trial. And we don't know why individuals did not testify in this trial. We were not provided that necessary information. The court was not, nor did we. Now, this court has heard from each of the pieces of evidence in this case. This court has heard from the witnesses in this case that did testify. This court heard cross-examinations of each of these particular witnesses. And the court heard the jury's verdict. Today, the state asks for 2 life sentences, and they ask for 60 years. They ask for consecutive time. They ask for a very stacked, harsh penalty, a trial tax, a trial penalty. Now, sometimes courts say, well, Mr. Matthews, the court can say, well, I was in the trial and I heard from these victims and I heard the evidence. And the court did. The court heard this entire trial. And I know this court to be a fair court. And I know that a sentence that is proper is one that takes into consideration all of the things that are outlined in 1710-2 and the victim impact statements combined. and the fact that my client has no prior felony convictions and the purposes of sentencing. And the court will fashion a sentence. Now, if a person is granted a life sentence, Your Honor, the statute says that that person will become eligible for parole after serving 30 years in custody. That's what the statute says. And that's what I understand the law to be. I'm not asking this court to give Mr. Gibson a life sentence in this case. I'm not asking the court to give this court, Mr. Gibson, 2 life sentences. I'm asking for concurrent time. I'm asking this court, before the trial, the recommendation was 25 years. He did not accept that because Mr. Gibson wanted his day in court, and he got that. He received his day in court, Your Honor. He wanted the constitutional right to have his Sixth Amendment trial, and he received that. He received a fair trial from this honorable court. So we're asking that he receive a fair sentence as well. It doesn't stop at sentencing. The fairness continues from jury selection all the way through the end of the case. And we believe that that's what will happen this morning. We're asking this court, Your Honor. My client would like to address the court.
Okay.
So before I ask the court for what I'd like to ask the court to do, can I have my client address the court?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Good morning today, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I want to start out by thanking you for
You should have wrote this out. I'm
giving us
dead
a fair
already.
trial. I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position to, sit there and
Oh, he
judge
going out the
someone's life.
dome. He going out the dome.
And
He should have wrote something down.
it's a hard decision, and I felt like they made the wrong judgment.
Oh, get him down.
I've done things in my life. I'm not perfect.
I'm pissed.
But the things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things.
Oh, he should have wrote something. And Matthew should have proofread
I know
it.
it's typical for a person to come up here and, show remorse to, crimes that they have done, but I can only show remorse to the people that I know that was in this trial, which is Kiara Adams, Deanna Sanders, and Jasmine Brown. Not remorse on behalf of like I did anything to them.
Then what?
If you know me, and people who really know me know that I wouldn't force anybody to do anything.
I know Matthews is pissed.
I met women, I dated women who were doing escort or whatever, however people want to look at it from a moral standpoint. But who was doing these things as a grown woman. I've only dealt with grown women. Nothing was forced. Nothing was
The judge got to throw the book just for this
anything
state.
of that nature. If you notice before this trial,
he going for life.
No woman can say anything about me before this trial. If you notice before this indictment, no woman can say anything about me before this indictment. I get the situations that people are put in when they're faced with a certain type of crime or a certain type of time, and they're bullied into this situation to put the blame on someone, or to put the blame on Cash Out, or to put the blame on someone
Please
who's
cut
at the
the
top.
fucking mic.
That's why I didn't really fault them for their decision. I didn't fault Deanna Sanders for making her decision during a proffer. She just had a child. Mind you, she was just on video call with me while being incarcerated. I don't fault Kiera Adams for
Victims do shit like that,
doing the
Cash
things she
Out.
did with her proffer, because mind you, she was facing a certain amount of time handling her probation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but what the fuck is he doing? Is he just
In different cases that she's on. I don't fault people for making accusations, because I'm a man that typically let women leave on their own behalf. Never held them.
He say typically
held them in prison or held them in slavery or said you can't leave me or you can't do this. Every woman you've seen come on this stand showed you that they left and came back willingly on their own. What I mean by that, they left
victims
on their
do
own
that.
and they came back willingly on their own. During this trial, I was able to see, how valuable life is and how valuable the people that you hang around, or the people that you even date, or the people that you even know, how valuable it is to judge their character. Sometimes I let people stay around who I knew was going to affect a situation that I had going on. So I don't, and for the people who came to this trial that I never met a day in my life, never had any contact with them, never had a text message with them, never had an interaction with them, don't even know where most of these stories came from. It's baffling. Never forced a woman to commit a sexual act. Never. I've been traveling all around the world from here to Dubai, and you would never hear a woman say that I forced them to do anything sexual or commit a rape with anybody. I don't hang around people that do things of that nature. I feel like and somebody asked me this the other day. It was like, every time I see your head high and you always smiling, because when you have that confidence, it takes me back to the Bible. When you have that confidence and you can be falsely accused of things.
Like
Jesus was falsely accused. A lot of the prophets was falsely accused. You don't have that emotion like you've done something. So if you've seen me with my head high, or if you've seen me smiling, it's because I know at the end of the day, through Jesus Christ, the Most High will always give you the actual judgment. So I really thank you for providing us a fair trial. Just me getting to know you during trial, I was like, she's just the judge. But when you sit 12 people in that panel and you have them, judge our lives and, put them in a position to judge our lives, it takes you back to, once again, the Bible, when people had to judge these prophets' lives.
I'm finna hit play for y'all. But does he not understand? They are not there to judge you. They are there to weigh the evidence presented to them and then decide if you are guilty of the crimes you're accused of. They're not there to judge you. This is not Jesus and the disciples.
And I say, if you know me, you actually know me. There's plenty of people that know me in this world. There's plenty of people that know me in this jail. There's plenty of people that know me where I'm from. Like I said,
in the
I'm
jail.
not perfect. I come from certain areas. I come from, certain environments. I come from doing things in my past life before the music. But I'm here to tell you that if you sat in this trial and you paid attention to this trial, before these dates, no woman could ever say, I've done those things to them. Before these dates, you can go on my Instagram and see these women enjoying themselves, having their own things, living their own life. Before these dates, I can say you had these women that never had anything to say about me before this indictment, before the RICO.
Instagram.
You had these women actually talking to me while I was incarcerated. I've been incarcerated for 4 years, and these women are interacting with me. These women who took the stand and supposedly scared of me, or monsters, or I'm a monster, or took these proffers. This wasn't the case before they was indicted. So from my perspective, I feel like some people can get bullied into a situation that they don't really want to do. And I'm sitting here just holding my head high and just, feeling that one day the truth will come out. One day the truth will come out on my situation. One day the truth will come out on this rape allegation, that these things never happened. And when you see a person get up on that stand and put their hand on the Bible.
Sorry, y'all. I got to interrupt this foolishness and tell y'all something. So a lot of you guys, I told her I was going to do this. A lot of you guys are familiar with Erica. She's one of my mods. She's been my mod for like a year, okay? Y'all know she's been studying for her real estate exam. My girl passed on her first try. I had to stop the cash out foolishness and tell the chat, can y'all put some confetti in the chat for Erica? Erica passed her real estate exam on the first freaking try. I'm so proud of her. She has really been studying. And I told her, I said, Erica, if you call me while I'm on my stream, I'm stopping the stream and we are going to celebrate you. So for those of you in here, we talk about goals. We talk about accomplishing things. Baby Erica, I'm so proud of her because that was one of her goals. That was one of her goals. She's been studying for this exam. I'm talking about studying her butt off. Shout out to Erica, okay? What they say, Big E the Realtor. Yes, ma'am. Big E the Realtor. I'm about to put y'all cash out back on, but I told her, I said, I'm going to stop my stream. If you call me while I'm on live, I'm going to stop the stream and I'm going to have to shout you out because I'm so proud of you. Okay, y'all, I'm going to put cash out back on. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
And swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That means you have to be perfect, like you're Jesus. You have to be perfect on that stand. You can't show a flaw. And that's a tough one. It's a tough one for me because I had flaws in my life. So you have to tell the complete truth on that stand. And I got up there and see people put their hand on that Bible and not tell the complete truth.
I know that judge want him to sit down.
But at the end of the day, I put my trust in the Most High. I put my trust in the universe to bring out the truth. To bring out the truth of these people who made these allegations. To me, it's like you have no heart. You have no heart. And I know people want me to stay in line or walk a toe, but when you speaking something truthfully and you speaking from the heart and you know that this is not your character, something must be said. And I just wanted to address the court and give my perspective on the things that I felt during this trial and the judgment that I felt that the jurors gave us was not the correct judgment. And it will show. Thank you.
She probably said, sir, you came up here with no remorse.
Your Honor, thank you for allowing Mr. Gibson to speak to this honorable court.
Kid, I hope. I see he done been up there so long. You think he finna say something real foolish? I just wish he wouldn't have done that, or at least he should have just written something short, simple,
So,
because
Your
he
Honor,
can
I'm
appeal
asking this
this.
court to
Matthew's got to think. He got to regroup after that.
measure what was
I don't know what to say.
offered before trial and what the court believes is fair after this trial.
Matthews is stuck.
And that there not be a trial penalty imposed. I'm asking the court to consider
Oh my
30-year sentence.
I just had to say this because I hadn't caught him. Miss Pooh, I don't know why. We cool. We're on these lives all the time. But it seems like every time we have these type of cases, you literally just blame the victims. None of us were there. I was not there, but what I choose to do is I choose to listen to the victims. I didn't watch this case, so I can't tell you the evidence they had against him. The Diddy trial, you had the same argument. At what point, what I don't know what it is you need for you to listen to these victims. At some point, at some point, at some point, we got to draw the line. We got to call a spade a spade. Every last one of these men can't be victims of the white man, of the government, of the judicial system. Every last one of these men just can't be that. And I hate to stop the stream again, guys, but it's bothering me that when we have these cases and I see these type of comments, what bothers me is none of us are there, including me. I'm not there. I can only go by the jury has come out with the verdict. They believe he was guilty. I can respect the verdict. I'm listening to the victims. I also listen to what the hell he just said during his statement. So this is what we can go off. The Diddy trial. What I say, I think Diddy is a monster, but I got to respect the verdict. They didn't think he was guilty of sex trafficking. I get it. I've gone back. I reflected. I said, okay, I can see why that verdict was that verdict. Okay, cool. But the man's a monster. At some point, though, damn, like we can't keep excusing grown ass men with this type of behavior. No, Mirror. Multiple things can be true. I want to say that multiple things can be true. And I'm not here saying people shouldn't have their opinions. It's just that when we have these trials, I notice that is the opinion that she takes. And what all I'm saying is we weren't there. I wasn't there. All we can do is respect what the jury has said. If he appeals it, which he does, he can appeal it. If he appeals this and he wins his appeal, I think I saw something online the other day that talked about this guy was saying, "Oh, we can use Diddy. He wasn't found guilty of that, right?" And so what he did was he went to the dictionary, looked up the words rape, the words trafficking, and you didn't see anything in that definition that said anything about a conviction. So just because these people are found guilty or not guilty does not redeem them of the things that they've done. You know? you know? Like that's all I'm saying, guys, is that we have to be very careful because in the blink of an eye, that non-victim could be one of us. All I'm saying is we just need to be respectful. We can have an opinion, but just outright saying that these women aren't victims, they're somehow responsible for the things that have been done to them. I'm not Mirror. So Miss Pooh is here all the time. It's not for me, Miss Pooh is here all the time. We talk all the time. It's not a matter of coming down on her. It's just a matter of as the host of this channel, I'm seeing comments a lot. I'm saying, listen, at some point we have to stop with the whole victim blaming. Here's the thing. Here's the simple thing, guys. With Cash Out's trial, I'm speaking from personal experience, okay? Personal experience, well, personal knowledge, not experience, personal knowledge. I have a cousin who was convicted a couple of years ago for this very same thing. I know my cousin, y'all, and y'all know what I said. I love my cousin. We grew up thick as thieves. I love my cousin, but y'all know what I said, baby. This is not the 90s. You can't be out here pimping. Pimping will get you right there in front of that judge for sex trafficking. And what did my cousin go to jail for? Sex trafficking. Sex trafficking. It's not the same, y'all. It's not the same. It's not the same. Well, Danielle, the one thing about it, not speaking on the case, you can speak on the verdict. The verdict is the man is guilty. The 12 people found him guilty. Now, is that going to change if he appeals this? It might change. It might change if he appeals it. But right now, I'm listening. I'm watching the verdict. You're listening to the victim impact statements. Danielle, I don't think it's so far-fetched, because have you not seen this Instagram he's talking about? The very Instagram that he's talking about, he was definitely selling something. He was definitely selling something. Did it go up to levels of sex trafficking? Now that is what the jury had to decide, and they decided that he was guilty. They decided that he was guilty. The one thing I can feel absolutely comfortable speaking about is the fact that 12 people said he was guilty. Not just him, his mom and his cousin as well. No, I hope y'all don't ever think we coming down on I hope y'all don't think we coming down. Miss Pooh is on here all the time. Me and Miss Pooh done had these same discussions on my TikTok on here. What I was asking Miss Pooh was, why is it that she takes this stance? Same with Diddy trial, same with Cash Out. We having a conversation. It's not coming down on her, and I hope she don't feel that way, because that's not what we do over here. We are having a conversation. Miss Pooh is always over here. Always over here. But I wanted to know, why is that the stance she took? And what I am saying is, with every case we watch, it can't always be that the victims are lying. There's probably a reason she feels that way. That's what I'm asking. What is that reason? It can't always be that way. I didn't watch this trial, but I'm going to say, I'm listening to his statement. I wish, if he's going to appeal this statement, I just would have recommended he come in here and say, listen, Your Honor, I respect the jury's decision. I do not feel I am guilty of the crimes they are alleging I committed. I apologize for any misconception, any harm I may have caused to these victims' lives, because that was not my intent. I will continue to pray for their sanity as well as mine, and sat down. What did he do? What did he do? He got up there and said they wrong. They dead wrong. These people basically what he said was, they were doing this shit before they came into my life. You know? You like this is what he said. Look at their Instagrams. They were into this before they even met me. He was like, they were into this before they even met me. So when it comes to this trial, I really do think people have to understand this. This is not the early 90s. It's not the early 2000s. They will send your ass straight to jail for trafficking with this so-called pimping. It's just not it's not the same. One of his charges is pimping. They found him guilty for pimping. So I would love to see what the evidence is. So again, this was not an attack. I wasn't catching all of the comments, but I'm seeing some of them. And I wanted to know, well, why is this your stance? Maybe she said through the trial. I don't know. Maybe she said through the trial. The court said my pride is too big. I wouldn't be pleading. Well, he did not. I didn't think he was pleading. I think he just wanted to be heard. He just wanted to be heard, and this is his way of being heard. And it felt almost like a rant, right? It felt almost, it wasn't like it wasn't like, please please have mercy on my soul. It wasn't like that. It felt more like a rant. It felt like a rant. Okay, y'all, here you, I'll put it back on.
With all of the charges run concurrent, with the exception of the
Me too, Heather.
firearm charge.
I got a boy and a girl too, Heather.
That has to be under our statute. Consecutive.
Corey, you might be right.
Imposition.
He was on a rant. Fatima,
Good morning, Judge.
very much.
I'll keep it as simple as humanly possible. Ms. Smith, she's here before you today on sentencing on counts 1 and 36 of this indictment. Ms. Smith has been in custody since April 19, 2022.
Damn.
Mr. Matthews had let her know that there was a warrant for her arrest, and she turned herself in, and she's been in custody consistently since then. While in custody, she's had not a single negative incident during her stay at all. Not a single write-up, not a run-in, not an argument, nothing at all. In fact, there's a supervising officer that is in the women's location who speaks very highly of her and her involvement while in custody.
Correction, it's 1 in 37.
I'm sorry, is it 37?
Yes.
Okay, 1 in 37, my apologies.
Go ahead.
Her last, as the state shared with you, her criminal history, the only other felony to speak of related to Ms. Smith is some 32 years ago. And it's in regards to a possession of marijuana charge. While she's been in custody, she's been positively engaged and working on rehabilitation. One of the things that Mr. Matthews mentioned that is expected to come out of sentencing and what the expectation is. She's already been working on her rehabilitation since she's been in custody. She has been a pod worker, which is the equivalent of a trustee. So her requirements there is that she cleans the pod, that she passes out food, that she mops floors, that she sweeps floors, that she makes sure that clothes get washed. And while that sounds to some, while it might be, I don't know, even demeaning to some, it's actually a privilege that's bestowed upon them while they're in custody, that they're able to be trusted to do these things. And she's been trusted to do these things while she's been in custody since 2022. She has participated in the New Beginnings program and is still participating in the New Beginnings program, working towards the certificate that they receive at the end of that. Through that, they participate in anger management, parenting classes, AA classes, cosmetology, all these things, regardless of whether or not these are areas that pertain to their particular arrest or pertain to something that they have personally asked for or needed, and she's walked through all of them. She's participated in everything. Since she's been in custody, she has been conducting Bible study for the past, I want to say 2.5 years, and in that she has received a certificate, and it's for the faith worth dying for, having achieved a grade of 100%. She's also participated in lessons on assurance and received a certificate for that through the Set Free Prison Ministries Rehabilitation by Regeneration program that's at the jail for her. During the time that she's been in custody, she's unfortunately lost her father. During this trial, you learned that while at the home in Johns Creek, her father lived with her. She had a family that lived in the home with her, and she was the primary caregiver. Since she's been in custody, she's lost him. Her mother is 77 and is in Alabama. Her brother is just 50. And during the time that her father was severely declining, he went into a coma. He's recently come out of the coma. He requires speech therapy. He requires, I believe, occupational therapy and physical therapy, and is receiving dialysis. So naturally, her mother at 77, her brother at 50 with all these now special needs, these are folks that she would like to get back to, folks that she would like to be able to caregive for like she did for her father while he was ill before she went into custody. We attempted, Ms. Smith never wanted to be in trial. Ms. Smith never wanted to have a trial.
Then why should
And so there were several conversations and meetings that the state and I had, and the bottom line is that we were just far too far apart on being able to reach a negotiation that we could present to this court. So she ended up in trial, but definitely not a choice of hers. I've heard the recommendation from the state, which ultimately is the max on the two charges and to run them consecutively. On behalf of Ms. Smith, I would ask for something different, but I do want to allow Ms. Smith an opportunity to speak on her own behalf if Your Honor would like to hear from her.
I hope she wrote something down. I just hope Miss Smith wrote something down. Well, y'all, she is in her jail clothes. I thought she had on a blazer.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm sorry. I'd like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Not a day, ever since I turned myself in, I was always prayerful for the victims. I take accountability. I pray for them continuously. I pray for the district attorney's office. I pray for you, Judge, because that's what God requires me to do.
I'm just getting pissed.
And that's what I truly feel in my heart, because I love God so much, and I'm so full of joy. That Friday, when the verdict came in, I wasn't angry at all. Not at all. I almost thought something was wrong with me. So that Saturday, well, the night before, let me back up. I talked to God like I always do. And he said, I must give my testimony to the young ladies in New Beginnings. And I said, Father God, I don't want to put my business out there. That's my business. But Father God said, your business is my business, and my agenda is your agenda. He said for me, which I always do, I respect authority. And Sergeant Ball was on the shift in my pod. So I had to speak to her. I was kind of afraid to speak to her. But Father God reminded me, he said, I'm by your side, do not fear. So I pressed the button and I asked, could I speak to her? Because I knew that in order to get my testimony, there's authority that I must talk to. So I went out and she asked me what was going on. And I said, Sergeant Paul, I'm asking, like, during devotion, will I be able to give my testimony? Because that's what God has said for me.
I just got to stop it. It's probably my OCD. What's pissing me off is that both of them are getting up here talking about themselves. Like, no. I just think, blame my child. My child left me with her golden doodle. And I think that dog stressed me out so bad. Everything's stressing me out. It's the fact that they're getting up here and they want to talk about themselves and what's going on with them. Baby, just keep it short and sweet. Judge, you praying for the the DA? And Judge, I pray for you too. What are we doing right now? You are not a missionary in Africa talking to a new crowd, baby. You are sitting in front of a judge about to be sentenced. Okay? I don't think the judge wants to hear your redemption story about jail. And then the bailiff had spoke, and I said, oh, I don't know if I want to tell him my story. It's not funny. It's just the fact that it's not about them. It's not about y'all at this point. You felt peace if you Judge. I would have preferred her to get up there and say, Judge, I felt peace when I got that sentencing because I need it. Judge, I may have needed that. I think God was trying to tell me what, even though I didn't think it was wrong, God saw it wrong. Something. It's all of this. First of all, she up here whispering, breaking. It's just annoying me. I just want them to focus on the victims, because again, if you're going to appeal it, say all of that in your appeal. Use that for your appeal. Use that for probation. Not right now is not the time. It's just not the time.
Me to do. It wasn't a choice. God doesn't give you that. He gives commandments. And I never want to be disobedient to God. She said, Miss Smith, she said, you cannot be disobedient to God. So if you
No,
give
you
your
just don't do
testimony and
it.
it just saves one person, just one person, you've done what God asked you to do.
It's the lawyer crying.
So I gave my testimony to about 35 women in the New Beginnings pod with me. God was speaking through me. I give him all the praise and glory. It's not me at all. My attorney, she's been great. She's been great. And she asked me when she came Sunday to speak to me what I would like her to say. And she has done that. And I just said, give me an opportunity just to speak to the judge just a little bit. I'm so sorry for the victims.
Okay.
And I pray for them and will continue to pray.
Okay.
Because God says, if you love me, you love others. And when I pray wholeheartedly. I didn't think I could do it in the beginning. I said, God, I don't know if I can do this. But he knew. He knew exactly what he wanted me to do. He chose me to do this. I couldn't even stop teaching the word if I wanted to. That's not even an option with me. Whatever you wish it to be, I'm okay with that. Because I will continue to spread the good news wherever I go. Because that's the path that God put me on. It's been with me for a long time. I just didn't take notice to it. I love what I do. I love spreading the good news. I love showing love to all. And I mean it wholeheartedly. I'm not angry at all. And I thank you for this opportunity. Miss Winfrey, I thank you. I thank everyone.
Thank you.
I wonder what Cash Out thinking, seeing his mom up there putting on this show.
Your Honor, I'm going to be asking that you sentence her to a period of 20 years to serve 5 with a balance on probation. The state has listed their conditions. I have no objection to the conditions that they have listed, so I ask that those conditions be the conditions that this court sentence her.
20 to serve 5. That's the sentence they
She's
giving
allowed
Georgia.
to serve the balance of her 20 years on probation outside of that 5 years.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I bet Cash Out. Oh, I know he like, man, my mama done went up there and put on a show.
Mr. Hughes.
I think this the judge Kayla said she wouldn't want to go in front of. I sure hope he ain't got nothing to say. I think she only got the RICO. Mirror, and that sentence is something I could see Georgia giving 20 years to serve 5.
Good morning.
I will be brief because Mr. Matthews has said a lot of what I was going to say up here for Mr. Taylor. I would just like to add, Mr. Taylor's been incarcerated longer than everyone else. He's been in jail since this arrest for this case back in 2019. Mr. Taylor, out of this entire trial, played the smallest role, if any, in regards to this quote unquote enterprise. And just remember that literally majority of the people that took the stand didn't even know who Mr. Taylor was. Or if they had seen him, they had seen him once, maybe somewhere over the years. As I have said throughout this trial and at the beginning, Mr. Taylor isn't similarly situated to literally every other co-defendant that's on this case. We've all been through these hearings. We've all been through the trial. I just wanted to put that out there on the record because Mr. Taylor wanted to make sure that it was known he's played the smallest role in this case, yet he's already been punished more than every other person on the indictment. Before we talk about, well, as the state said, Mr. Taylor is a recidivist, so there's not really much I can do when it comes to sentencing with the court. However, Mr. Taylor does want to address the court before we move forward.
All right. Oh, God.
Hey, how you doing, Your Honor?
Good morning.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor.
Speak up a little loud for me, sir.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor. I know my life ain't been perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in life.
Come on.
I know my background ugly, but not violent, like being caught with guns and robbery and murders and stuff. I know that I made a lot of mistakes by making the wrong decisions. And I learned since 2019, I've been incarcerated, to make the right decision. I learned a lot of patience. And the victims who accusing me of something that they said I did, that I didn't do, and it hurt me. Since I've been locked up, my family, I've been having folks dying on me. My son growing up, my daughter growing up.
You
I've been
did it.
doing the best I can to get out this situation. And for the victim, Jordan Allen, I ask that she forgive me if she felt like I did any harm to her. I don't harm no one.
At least his statement.
I help people. I always have jobs that I work. I was a chef. I put pipes in the ground. I helped create Centennial Park, the Kroger off Ponce Leon. I was working. I was doing a lot of positive things, but I had my foot sometimes in the wrong mud. So since I've been doing time, I learned to stay positive and don't do nothing negative. Just stay positive and stay prayed up. I talk to my mama every day that's all who I call my mama, every day since I was locked up. And I talk to my son, I tell him, make the right decision. I talk to him like he's a brother. Make the right decision. And think about the consequences on the bad and the good. And I know that people judge me on my look, 'cause I got a strong face. I'm a man. I look like that. I can't help how I look. I'm not no violent person, no herder. I don't hurt nobody. And any woman who got up on the stand and said I hurted them, they can't show no proof, no picture, no report that I really physically hurted them. I got a mother, I got sisters, I got nieces, I got aunties. I love women. I ain't ever committed no crime that they're accusing me that I committed. You can look at my record. In the past, I was a user. I used to use drugs, and in 2017, I was in a drug program called Stan Inc. Fulton County put me in now. And when I was in there, when I completed the program, I was with my friend Felicia. I was in a relationship with her. In 2017, 18, and 19, I got caught up with this for something that I didn't do. And I don't know how to say it, but I know that after I actually can't get another chance to prove that I'm a righteous person. I'm not violent. I'm not no threat. I'm not none of that what they saying I am. I promise you on that. That's all I got to say, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
At
welcome.
least he
John,
tried
thank you
to
for
be
giving him the
remorseful.
opportunity to speak.
He tried to be remorseful. I just think it's some other stuff going on with him. And Erin's not on here, but she loves to talk about, we can't just look at the charges. I didn't really see it with Cash App or his mom, but with this defendant, I really hate that so many of these young men grow up in environments where they're set up to fail from the beginning, because I can tell from the way he's speaking, the way he's talking, there are challenges there. And sometimes the life of crime is the only life that they can lead. When he's saying 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's environment. I mean, his is the one that makes me think the most.
Take some time with this.
I know, Key. I'm just saying. I'm listening to him speak, and I'm just like, oh, I can just. Oh, I know, Key. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Key. Thank you. Ken understands me. I'm just saying, and I know it's not just him. They have to go to jail for their crimes, but I really hate that so many of our young men, they set up to fail from the beginning. His language just did it for me. He said he got a strong face and he can't help that. Yeah, I really think they each should have had their attorneys prepare these statements. And she's still over there crying. No, Key, it's all crimes. It's all crimes. The amount of people I talk to and they think pimping is okay. Lord, please let's not have that conversation at one of my family reunions, child. There are people who really just feel like pimping is okay. Mirror, we can't say the same for Cash Out. What I said was, and you could say the same for his mom as well. What I was expressing is he's the first one that made me think about that, because his speech was, he's the first one made me think about that. I don't know why it feels like we're so argumentative today. Okay, I was just talking about him. He was the one speaking. And I think I did say not just him. So many of our Black boys, our African American boys, our young women. So many young women grow up in environments where they feel like selling it is okay. It's not just this particular person. Hearing him speak is what made me think about that. Mm. And Brianna, this is the conversation. Are they on a break or something? Let me skip over. That's the conversation, Brianna. What made you get this way? Are they on a break, y'all? Okay, they might be on a break right now, y'all. Okay, we're caught up now. Okay, they're coming back. They're coming back now. Sugar, I agree. Well, sugar, I could sugar. Consenting adults should be able to do things right as long as they consent to it. I get you. I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Well, Mira, his Instagram. I went to his Instagram and I was shocked. I remember seeing a post years ago. It was on my For You page, and it was one of those posts from Cash Out's page. And I said, "Damn, what he on?" I said, "What is he on?" Because you start thinking of these rappers. You know, money gets low in the rap game. When that show money not coming, they have to do something. And I said, I wouldn't have thought this is what he would have opted to do. He could sell merch. He could do everything. And you out here selling, you know what? Thank you, Kristen.
Ms. Hannah?
Nay, they love to say that.
Okay.
Ooh, they love to say that.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, during the course of this trial, the court heard and viewed evidence demonstrating the very worst of human behavior toward other human beings. The jury verdict in this case reflects that the state met its burden in proving beyond a reasonable doubt that the diabolical conduct of the defendants occurred. The sentencing to be meted out by this court will be responsive to that.
They getting the book.
Mr. John Michael Hakeem Gibson, would you please stand?
It's over. That first sentence told me everything I needed to know. It's over.
On count one, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 10. On count 10, rape, life in confinement.
Damn.
Count 12, aggravated sodomy, life in
Oh,
confinement
she
to
gonna
run concurrent with
concur.
count 10.
Oh, he never getting out.
Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 1. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 22. Count 24, on the lesser included offense of battery, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 25, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 5 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 23. Count 26, pimping, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent
She gave him everything.
with count 10. Count 27, pandering, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10.
That man never getting out of jail.
Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10.
Never.
Count 29, willful
Just keep
obstruction
going.
of a law enforcement officer, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 30, simple battery, merges into count 24, battery. Count 45,
What the hell?
possession of prohibited items by an inmate, 5 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 25.
He getting that
Conditions
like
of this
for
sentence:
years.
no contact with any of the victims named in the indictment, to include Diamond Urban or their families. You are to register as a sex offender. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road in Atlanta. You are to stay away from the Mezzo condominium, 2171 Peachtree. You are to stay away from the St. George's Commons address, and you are to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. All right, you may be seated. All right, Ms. Smith and counsel, please stand. As to count 1, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement. Count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 10 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive to count 1. You're to have no contact with any of the victims, including Diamond Irvin, named in this indictment, or their families. You are to register as a sex offender. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road, the Mezzo at 2171 Peachtree Road, the address at the St. George's Commons, 9340, and the FIB, Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. You may be seated.
Y'all, they gave the mama 30
All right,
years.
Mr. Taylor. On count 1, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 9. Count 9, rape, life in confinement.
Dang.
Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve in confinement
They never.
to run consecutive with count 1. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 13. Count 16, false imprisonment, 10 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 15.
Them folks never getting out.
Count 17, pandering by compulsion, 10 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 18, possession of cocaine, 3 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 19, tampering with evidence, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 20, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer by use of threats or violence, 10 years to serve to run concurrent with count 9 and a
She gave them the
suspended
max
fine
on
of $300.
everything.
You're to have no contact with any of the victims named in the indictment, nor are you to have any contact with Diamond Irvin or any of their families. You are to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road in Atlanta. You are to stay away from the Mezzo address at 2171 Peachtree Road and the address at the St. George Commons, 9340. You register as a sex offender. And that is the sentence of this court. You may be seated. Mr. Gibson, Ms. Smith, and Mr. Taylor, I have to give you some post-conviction rights that you have, all right? You may remain seated while I give you these rights, okay? You need to know that you have the right to seek post-judgment relief from your convictions, the crimes, by either making a motion for a new trial in this court and or filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If you wish to file a motion for a new trial or an appeal, then you will need to file the said motion or notice of appeal with the clerk of the Superior Court of this county within 30 days of the judgment and jury verdict, the final disposition. You may wish to more fully discuss this with your lawyers. If a motion for new trial is made and the court denies it, you will have 30 days from the filing of the order of denial in which to file with the clerk of this court your notice of appeal. You have a right to have a lawyer represent you on the motion for new trial and the first level of direct appellate review. And if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, the court will provide you a lawyer and a transcript of your trial at no cost. With respect to felony convictions,
You're just reading it off
you
so
usually have a period of 4 years from the date that your sentence in this court becomes final to file what is known as a habeas corpus petition. On any misdemeanors, you have a period of 1 year from the date your sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. All right? And with that, they may be taken back. Yes. All right. Yes. Your excuse.
hold on, y'all. I need to do something real quick. Okay, so that's gonna be all. I think. Um, I well, Dan, I'm not sure if you listen. Hold up, Dan. I'm not sure if you listen to them, but Mama Cash Out said she's at peace with whatever the judge gives her. It doesn't matter. Whatever you give me, she said, I'm at peace. Cash Out said that you might be the judge today, but you are not the judge of my life. Jesus Christ is. So I think they knew they were getting the max. I think both of them walked into that case, and Tyrone, hell, the way Tyrone was thinking, I thought he only had the RICO charge. Tyrone had way too many charges to be up there talking about he's a good person and pleading. Listen, the judge said bye. The judge said bye. Okay? That is what he said. So I don't know. And let me say this. Someone else said they can appeal and appeal. I think everybody's gonna appeal these sentences. And they're gonna find attorneys. As we know, Fulton County lies. They they don't do great investigations. I didn't see this case, so I don't know what the evidence was, but you can bet your last dollar they are going to appeal this, and they may find a technicality. Who knows? Oh, Aaron, that man got up there. I thought he only had the RICO charge because Miss Sylvia's her breakdown of the case wasn't really clear. It was kind of like found guilty of 2 charges, not guilty on the rest. I didn't know what the rest were. Bougie Key. Are okay, I had to stop before I said that joke. Is the sky blue today? It's blue where I'm at. Funny is probably putting on that dress backwards as we speak. Okay? As we speak. Y'all, I'm gonna say this again. Listen, Mira, I felt like from listening to the opening statements, I really did want to see what the evidence was, because the state, they acted like they had all this evidence, and then the defense came back like, well, really what you'll see is this. So I was interested to see what it was. Sounds like the state's evidence was what they said it was going to be. So yeah. Yeah, that's what I was very confused by Miss Sylvia's tweets. I couldn't really grasp what the charges were and what they got found guilty of, but I knew Cash Out would do some time from what he was found guilty on. The mom, 30 years. I didn't think the mom was going to get 30. I really thought they were going to, all of that crying she went up there and did. I thought she was really going to get the 20 years to serve 5, do 15 on probation. I really thought that's what she was going to get. I really did. Megan, those Instagram posts, he was selling something. Selling something, right? It was something. But I just, what I do hope for any of them, and I hope this case is a lesson. I'm hoping the Atlanta, the local news will kind of have some articles to come out that will kind of tell us the charges and everything. I hope people will understand that we're in a new day and age. And these Fonnie Willis, if you are in Fulton County, please know that Fulton County will use RICO. They will. Fonnie said it's her favorite charge to bring. Why is it her favorite charge to bring? Because RICO, hold on, y'all. It's Fonnie's favorite charge to bring, and I don't see her putting it on the shelf anytime soon. So I don't know where you want to play. I don't know where you want to play around, but Fulton County is not the place to play around, because if there are two, you know how the Bible say where 2 or 3 gather in my name. Fonnie feels the same way about you guys in RICO. Where 2 or 3 gather in my county, baby, please know RICO is going to be in the midst. Don't play in Fulton County. Do not play in Fulton County, because Fonnie Willis is not. Who said this? Do you guys remember when the fit lawyer was on here, and the fit lawyer said, she said that people in Fulton County, what do they want? They want to be in a safe place. And if you are putting criminals in jail, giving them time like these 3 people just got, I'm gonna keep you in that seat. Okay, you got embarrassed with YSL. Okay, but you did get some plea deals. Now, YSL, I know people love to say, oh, YSL was a joke. Baby, she got some plea agreements out of YSL. And I think what she wanted the most was to break up Thug's big happy family. She did that. She did that. She did that. So although it may not have been the slam dunk she wanted, she got some points on the board. And then this Cash Out case, baby, she just put them under the jail. She just put them under the jail. Well, no, Dan, when it came to the graping, the young lady said both of them did it. They took turns. That's not. So RICO doesn't work like that. This is a RICO, right? All of them have the RICO charge, but then they all had separate charges as well. They have separate charges as well. So Tyrone and Cash Out both had the graping charges. The young lady said they both did it. That's how they both got the grape charges. Right? So that's how that happened. But I didn't listen to the testimony, and now I wish I could have listened to the testimony, because I really want to know. Some people were saying like his mom was getting cash apps, but then there were other people saying the mom was more involved than that. You heard that the victim's mom. I went to go pick up my daughter, and his mama came outside. His mama came outside. along with other people, right? So these people are they are working together to prevent my daughter from leaving with me. So hold up. No, we just watched the victim impact statements. Are they back? Because the stream stopped. Hold on just a second. Let me go back over here. Because I thought the stream stopped. Yeah, I don't see that on there. I thought the stream stopped. Hold on. So y'all, because that was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. I didn't expect all of that, but I'm going to get off of this one, and then I have another stream for Melly. Y'all give me 10 minutes because I need to do something real quick. And y'all know I got both dogs here. But so give me 10 minutes and then I'm gonna go on to the other stream. Oh yes, Key. You gotta go to the beginning. Go to the beginning. He said if you're a certain color, Mr. Big Play Brave. Someone just put in the chat talking about the Abercrombie and Finch man and how what his charges were and how he was let out. I never want to get in front of you guys and make it seem like I am ignorant to the racial and the wealth gap that exists within our legal system. I don't ever want to act like I'm ignorant to that. But I also want people who violate laws to understand when you go to jail, please remember the racial and wealth gap that exists in our legal system. Because if you know it before you commit a crime, please don't play dumb after you get the time. Let's not play dumb about it. We know that it's there, and you are absolutely correct. We know this. We know this, but I need people to also remember that when they think they can go out here and commit the same crimes. It's just everyone, when I think about the Wisdale case, and I know I said I was about to get off. When I think about the Wisdale case, I think it's really great for us to understand that, or think about the Diddy trial. Everybody, there were a few people who told me, I know you know a couple Diddies. Child, I don't know anyone who could afford 8 high-powered attorneys to sit beside them in court. I don't know anyone who could do that. We've got to remember that. Listen, when you're committing these crimes, who watched ASAP Rocky with me? Who remembers ASAP yelling stuff out in court? I said, oh, when you go up to different tax brackets, your courtroom decorum must change. It must change when you start to go up in the tax bracket, because there's no way my ass would sit in court and yell out anything. Child, I'm scared. I'm trying to get in and out for a traffic ticket. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's not act oblivious. Let's not act oblivious to it, okay? We understand it. We know that it is different strokes for different folks. And I want people to have that in the front of their minds when they're committing crimes. Oh, that was a little bar. Have it in the front of your minds when you committing crimes. That's the bar, baby. That might be as big as their slogan. Okay. If I see y'all with that on something, I know where you got it from. Okay. Okay, y'all. So I'm about to get over here. I'm about to get off here. And then we're going to go over to the next stream. So give me 10 minutes, y'all. I really need to do something real quick, and I'll be over there. But bye, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all in a little.